it's Kris.
I'm Aaron.
And I'm Wyatt Elliott from Notebook Entertainment.
And you're watching Review This.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
It stinks.
Alright, so today we're going to do a very special review of Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. We all just got done seeing it an hour ago or so. And we're going to give you our first impression thoughts. And then we'll go into some spoilers after that.
You may be wondering why there's 3 of us today. Well, it's a very special movie because it's a video game movie, and this time they actually tried to stay true to the video game.
Yeah.
I have never played a Resident Evil video game. I've never watched them really be played. I have known nothing about the video games. I am a movie person. That is my expertise here.
And I came in as a movie fanatic and someone who has played all the Resident Evil games when they came out, not really since. So my memory of them is very nostalgic and it's very fond, but it's sketchy at best as far as plot line goes.
So we have an expert.
Expert.
But yeah, you played the games more recently.
More recent, because especially the remakes when they came
Yeah.
out with 2 and 3. I love those ones, especially 3. 3, oh man, I'd play that like multiple times. But yeah, it's a little bit more fresh than the old skull.
There you go.
That's what we need.
That's exactly what we needed for us and for you. So we thought we would do this review from 3 different perspectives.
Yep.
So
I hated this movie.
well, let's just get right into it, guys.
We'll do our normal format. We'll
Yeah.
talk about the movie spoiler free, our impressions of it, that sort of thing, and then we'll go into the spoiler where we will wreck the shit out of it for you. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot to say, so
yeah, and you might be better off to watch the spoiler than go spend your hard-earned money on this movie, even if you are a Resident Evil fan. And that's where I stand with it, is I was gaga over some of the nostalgia because it does look like the video game. I think they did an excellent job at making the police station, the mansion, the city look like what I remember the video games doing. As far as character depiction, not so much, but at least the characters are there. So
I feel like I would have had more fun watching someone just play the freaking game because this was a boring movie, you guys. So boring.
Yeah, the pacings in the video game is better because you kind of can control that. While in this one, it's like putting the game on demo and just watching it play out itself.
Well, no, but with pacing, you get the roller coaster right because you can't have everything up here at a 9 the entire time because eventually that 9 starts to come down, down, down.
Right.
With a game with Resident Evil and even 2 and 3, they're more action based. You get the ups and downs. You get those moments like, okay, I'm safe. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, it's up and down. You're having fun. You're immersed. You get that moment of taking a breath, collecting yourself, absorb everything that kicked in, and then you're on that ride again. This one, it's like, let's go in a straight line.
Right.
It's way up there. You're really high up in the air, but it's a straight line.
Yep. And narrative-wise, like I'm not sure how this narrative goes in the games, but in the movie, I don't think they did the narrative correctly because I was not interested at all. I didn't care where anything was going, and they kind of went back and forth explaining stuff. So by the time they explained something, I no longer even cared about it.
And the problem there, what they did was they took the plot line of Resident Evil 1 and 2 and then tried to do them both at once. So there's too many characters, there is too many plot points, and they're trying to tell too much story, where I felt the ending was just kind of like, okay, here's the ending, and they fumbled at the ending completely. Like, there was no suspense, nothing. And then next thing you know, it's boom, the end. I mean, literally like that. Just title card.
After that first jump scare, for me, the entire movie was just this. Like, that was my viewing experience. I was sitting there like, how much more of this do we have to go? Like, God.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, how do you take a zombie movie and make it boring?
And I think it's because the actors were very wooden in this. They weren't obviously directed very well.
Dialogue sucks.
The dialogue is worse than in the video game. And we don't even get the line, Master of Unlocking, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to have bad dialogue, at least use it.
Go for it. It's like some of the cast were pretty good.
Robbie
Some
Amell, I
weren't.
like Robbie Amell.
Yeah, if he's the one who played Chris Redfield, he looked the best like the part. He acted the most like the part.
Yes. But like Wesker, no, you don't put him as anything but a hero. No. I'm sorry. You look at him in Umbrella Academy. He's a great hero.
Yeah.
It's Tom Hopper, I think his name is.
Yeah, and it was weird because it felt like they weren't treating him like a villain at all.
No, it's like kind of a lovable
like, oh,
thing.
yeah, he
and
betrayed
But
us.
the thing is I saw him being a villain because I was like, okay, well, if he was a good guy, he would tell everyone else about his old Palm Pilot, whatever.
Yeah.
But he wasn't, so I was like, okay, well, he's gonna wind up being a bad guy. That's what I mean. Like, there's no
Yeah.
this movie sucks.
He almost seemed like
The
Weasley.
Palm Pilot was a great tribute to the game, though. Very great tribute.
But it seemed like he's, rather than being a villain, he seemed more like a Weasley kind of like, I'm just here for my own deeds, not like a greater evil, I'm part of something.
I compared him to Suicide Squad. Asshole. Patriot guy.
Peacemaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I compared him to, because I didn't like that guy either. Fuck that guy for killing Rick Flag.
And this one had a ending after credits scene that was the same way like Suicide Squad, where it almost leaves you pissed off and not happy or
that's
excited.
the one that survived?
Yeah,
like,
it's
damn
like,
it.
Stupid.
Well, no, it seems like they're trying to do like a Marvel-esque thing, where it's like,
They are.
here you go, it's a little cliffhanger, and only people who've played the game will know who is going on and what is what, and it's like, don't.
But you know what would have been cooler, and I can understand trying to build up on a bigger universe and have it planned, but have the first movie be all in the mansion.
Yep.
Then the second movie takes place the same night from a different perspective, and you could have an intertwining of the characters.
You could have Claire like all of a sudden in that semi pulling up, and it's like, so what brings you here?
Yep, and you can even tease it where you could hear in the first movie there was a truck crash or something. Now the city's
or even
blocked
just go
off
by. It's like, welcome to Raccoon City.
Something there, you could do it in two separate movies, and it would have been really cool, taking place the same night, part 1 and 2, versus this trying to just squeeze it all in here, because they just took it all and just jam it in there, and I was like, here you go, aren't you guys happy? Because I think after years of Resident Evil movies having nothing to do with the video games, now they went the other extreme, and I was like, is this what you want? Is this what you want?
Which, again, from a movie person standpoint, like, they are whatever on the original movies because they're not anything like the game. But I leaned over because I remembered that Alice wasn't in the video games, I thought, but I didn't want to. So I leaned over and I was like, so where is Alice in all this? And I was like, it would have been a better movie if she was here. Because honestly, as a movie person, I did like the first 1 and 2 after that. And I was telling him on the way home is my problem with the original series is it seems like they started to listen to people who were bitching that they weren't like the video games and started putting stuff in the video games, from the video games into it, which made the movies start sucking.
Yep.
So it's like you could have just kept going with your little make-believe Resident Evil world and made better movies instead of throwing all this video game shit in. Now you don't have happy video game fans or movie fans. And it's the same here. I'm a movie fan. I'm not happy with this boring-ass movie. They like the video games. They're not happy with it.
No.
Here, like, popped in my head real quick was, this is actually, I would consider a good movie if it was made by Uwe Boll. Like,
oh, God.
That's how it is.
If he made it, Because
it's the thing, it's like you go way too close to the video game storyline. It's like, don't. There's a reason why video game storylines are good in some ways, because they immerse you, they pull you in, you're interactive, you're a part of it. That's why some, you have mute protagonists, or one that are highly relatable, or customizable characters, so you can put yourself into the game, or you're like idea person, whatever. This, it's like, you can't do that. If you want to tell a story, tell a story. Don't copy and paste a story and be like, well, what about this? Oh, we had to cut that out. What about that? We had to cut that out. What about this? We had to cut that out. It's like, and you're going to lose aspects, especially since it's an interactive medium with video games. Movies are not. Like, this discussion's been done, like, years and years back. Again, it's like Uwe Boll and other stuff like that. It's, if you want to do a video game story, make a video game. You want to do a movie, do a movie. Don't make a video game movie. There's only like a handful that are okay at
Sonic
best.
the Hedgehog. I love Sonic.
It's
pretty good, but it's because it was an original idea. You had only concepts like, here's Sonic, and then at the very end, here's Tails, and like that's about it. And it's like, oh yeah, we have Robotnik, but he's not Dr. Eggman.
Right.
You have a few concepts, and that's it, and then you make your own story.
That's because some things just don't translate from one media to another.
Which is why the first Resident Evil movie, I think, worked. It took the basic concept of, okay, we've got the corporation, we've got the zombie virus, let's put all new characters in.
Right.
And I liked it. Alice kicked all kinds of ass. Like,
which I think is what Paul W.S. Anderson probably had the same thought when he went back and made that movie. Now, it's been said that he was not a fan of the Resident Evil series, and this new director is. But the problem is, remember when the original Resident Evil movie came out, Resident Evil, as far as a game series, was on what, maybe part 3? Maybe 3 or something, I think was around the time when the first movie came out. Because I want to say Nemesis was in one of the movies with Alice.
He was in Resident Evil 2. They actually kept that, where it's like each movie was coincided with the game.
So it was around that time. So maybe it was even around Resident Evil 2's time when the first movie came out. I don't actually remember the full timeline of it. But anyways, when he made it, the Resident Evil games were more, we hadn't played the first ones in a while. Now with all the remakes and all the re-releases, the younger generation has, chance to play them and everything. That this new director is probably coming from a point of having just played the games. And it's probably like, and they know what the fans want, and they're trying to get the fan service, so he spent all of his time, it looks like, paying attention to, look, the mansion looks right, okay, cool, the police station looks right, the zombie scenes look right, the truck looks right, but he didn't direct his actors,
it's like
he didn't write a script. He just, there's points.
And then it's like, okay, got that, and then let's fill in between.
Check that off, check that off, check that off. That's what he's doing.
It did pop in my head. Well, I'm going to save that for later, because actually it's something that's not included.
Yeah. But just,
No, this is spoiler free.
Yeah, we're trying.
All right, so let's move on, because you guys were talking a lot, and I don't know the characters at all. I did like Robbie Amell in this movie. I thought he did a good job. You guys didn't like the Leon guy. He's the only part of the movie that sort of amused me.
Yeah, he was fine.
Go ahead and talk about how the characters are different from the video games. I don't know.
I knew when he woke up that it was Leon because of his hair. Like, that was the only reason. But he doesn't look anything like Leon at all. And I don't think that they have to. Like, I don't think Jill looked like Jill. I think the only one that looked their part was,
Claire and Chris.
Claire and Chris.
Yeah.
They looked the part. Which is kind of who they mainly focus on. Jill is kind of like a, side thing. But, they forgot Rebecca. They forgot Barry. Which, again, I'm not saying they all have to be in it.
Yeah.
But...
There's a lot of characters already.
Well, because, with Leon, the one thing is, it bugged the hell out of me was when you try to make it feel natural and thing, you don't say someone's middle initial.
No.
That was so...
Yeah, that was so dumb.
What are you, Leon S. Kennedy?
Right.
The rookie? It's like...
I know, when they say that, they almost just want to look at the camera and wink. Like, see? We got Leon this time.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If they would have focused on the one game, we wouldn't have had characters Leon or Claire, because they came in part 2. So they should have been in the sequels.
At least they kept them quarantined more by themselves. Like, Leon and Claire were one part of the story, and then everyone else was at the mansion. So they did keep it separate.
Which is true to the game.
But then that also kind of pushes that sort of aspect where they should have just done, Resident Evil 1. Here's these core group right here. And then you do your sequel. Here's 2. Here's your other core group. And then if you want to marvel it up and mash them together and make some big event, go ahead. It seems like they want to be true to the games, but it's there's certain times you can use the story of a game, but not follow the game.
What I think also was that I think that they didn't feel probably the first game is enough for a movie, but they weren't thinking outside the box.
Right.
Because some of the coolest movies, horror-wise especially, are one-location films.
Yeah, and
those are some of the coolest things. And if they would have approached this, think of where the first of the movie was, where they were kind of they don't know where they're at, they don't know what's going on. Yep. Now you extend that to you're stuck in this mansion and you're trying to figure out clues. The one guy could have the PDA.
It makes it more of a thriller.
There's a mystery going on. There's zombies. There's terrifying monsters called hunters, which they still didn't use.
But the little girl described one, you said.
Yeah, he thought he heard that. Yeah,
because she said it was green.
The little girl has the nightmare, and he's like, "Well, tell me what the monster looked like," and she described it.
Yeah, which did sound more like a hunter.
It did.
Because the hunters, you would hear them coming in the game. You could hear them walking, and you were terrified because they would lash out at you. You could see they would be walking, and then they were on you. Yeah. And that could be really terrifying in the movie.
This movie felt boring but bogged down too, because there were too many mysteries, I felt. Like, you had what's going on with Claire? What's her background that they keep flashing back and forth to, but not telling you enough about? And then there's, what's the doctor guy doing? And then there's, what's his face doing with his Palm Pilot? And then there's just too many threads to follow here.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, but, because I know you wouldn't know. But
Bitch, I might.
Right, she might. But the backstory of Claire Redfield and her brother, that's not in any of the games.
I don't think so. If it is, it's kind of like dusted aside.
Yeah, were they orphans? Or?
I don't remember ever exploring that.
Because the only thing I remember was Kris is a member of STARS. I don't think Claire is.
Unless they did in Code Veronica, because that was the one that came after 2.
Well, there's also, like, the one thing I'm surprised they didn't touch was, like, a prequel, something like Resident Evil 0.
Yeah.
Because that would have been more for...
technically is canon. I think all of it's canon.
Oh, yeah. At this point, they're like, yeah, just held it.
Yeah, Resident Evil's never been rebooted, right? They've kept the canon all along?
Pretty much, because, like, with 2 and 3, the remakes, I think they're just, like, they tighten things up
Yeah,
a
they just modernize it. But it's the same game and the same linear canon. I don't think they, to my knowledge, they've never done, okay, this doesn't count anymore.
Which, speaking of modernizing it, the one thing I did like about this movie was it took place in the 90s. So we got an awesome 90s soundtrack to it.
Not only that, but it made sense for the tech that they would have if you're going to try to keep it the way the game was. Yep. So I did like that. I think that was a good choice.
I was jamming out to some of the movies.
Whoever was like, for the set and the costumes also look great too. That's one thing that really, because like Claire rocking the classic red leather look and everything.
Right.
Because it was like, it'd be so easy just like to over-sexualize something. Just like, here, look at this. And you got this like,
badass.
Yes, everyone's like, look really good.
I think they treated it right. And like, but there was too many just winks to the camera. Like when she gives him the vest. Put the vest on, Leon.
Yeah.
And he puts the bulletproof vest on that we all know and love. And it's like, okay, we get, but...
We get it.
Just have him put it on. We'll get it. You don't have to go...
Yeah, it's a dialogue. It's a dialogue issue.
Know?
It sounded like you were watching the video game because that's how bad the dialogue was. It was very stilted. It was very it didn't flow. Like you didn't believe that these people were actually talking to each other and having a conversation. No. It was like, here's my line, here's your line, here's my line, here's your line.
And it's funny because once I realized, and I didn't have high hopes for this movie. Okay, I didn't have high hopes for it, but I still wanted to see it because you never know. And once I realized it was not good, I was starting to feel bad for Kris because I'm like, at least we've got that nostalgia.
They can do the Easter egg thing.
Yeah.
Where they're like, hey, we know that.
She's got nothing.
I'm just sitting there the whole time like, I hate this. It's like, I was like, at least it's not the Empty Man.
Yeah,
because at least stuff is happening. Like, it may not be interesting stuff, but at least it's happening.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think maybe you can see now my point of why I compared the Empty Man to a Resident Evil game because it only...
That's an insult to Resident Evil games. That Empty Man movie sucks.
Well, yeah, because the games go somewhere. But at least this movie did know to cut away from so much of the walking and exploring.
It did, though. It did feel sometimes like they were walking and exploring too much.
But I get the nods, and that's one of the points I looked over at her because I was like, okay, I'm starting to get the vibes because they're just showing them looking around the mansion, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting this. I think this is kind of cool, but I understand why it would not be entertaining because it wasn't. It wasn't presented in an entertaining way.
I did like the special effects. The makeup were good. The guy with the arm with the eyeballs on it looked cool.
Except for until the end. Like, he looked cool, and then when his head changed, which obviously had to happen, I don't understand. I'm sure
that didn't look as
that
cool.
That looked ridiculous.
When it was just the arm. When it was just the arm, I liked that.
Looked cool.
That was good makeup. That looked really cool.
Yeah, which is very video game accurate. The eyeball is super cool.
Afterwards, it did go into a little bit of, like, basket case type.
I don't know what that was at the end. I'm like, that is not a good design
puppetry,
for the final form.
Yeah.
Because it's like if it was a practical effect, it looked good.
Yeah.
Whoever's doing practical effects, you keep it up.
The liquor was very CGI.
If it was CGI, go make an animated show.
Like the liquor in this one looked, from what I remember, the exact same as the last time they used the liquor in the Resident Evil movies, which I believe was the first one.
That one had practical effects, so that one actually, I think, looked better.
Probably did. If I would have seen
the
it again,
liquor
it
looks
better.
shitty
It does.
as fuck.
It made me think it was like they took something out of an animated show, because I know they recently did a Resident Evil show or movie.
They
and
did,
it's like,
yeah.
here, let's
See, to me,
let's
it looked
copy
like
that,
an
put it over
old
here.
computer image. Like
It looked, that's what I'm
from
saying. It
computer
looked like from the
games.
early
Yeah.
2000s. It looked like
It
early
did,
2000s.
yeah. Like, I don't know if that was intentional. It's like,
I
it looks
hope
like the game.
not.
It's like, again, then why aren't they, like, moving like tanks then? Like, why couldn't you if you're going to go that way, make that kind of joke?
Should have just made he made an outfit, stuck Doug Jones in it, and let him go lick people. Like, that would have been way better.
The CGI just wasn't good. And it shows up for, like, one scene just as a nod. Again, hey, look, we got Resident Evil bad guys in here. And then it was gone. You know, just like the scene. I do love the scene, and it's in the trailer, where it mimics the first time they see a zombie in the game and in the movie is the same.
There is that
and
one
that
part,
does look really accurate.
Hit hard nostalgia.
Very cool. Hard nostalgia.
I just thought it looked cool.
It's shot well. The makeup looks well.
But that goes again with the whole...
Lighting.
He gets these check marks. Like, okay, that spot, that time.
Done.
Boom,
Move on, guys.
Yep. It's like he gave a shit about that stuff, and that was it. And then it's like, just... Where's the AD? Here, you do this
But
part.
now that we're talking about it, that's even the first movie. The cinematography was better in the original than it is in this. The cinematography even sucks. Like,
there's nothing as a film. There's really nothing.
As just a movie person, I have nothing, you guys.
It's just a bunch of noise.
The makeup looks sort of good sometimes.
It doesn't even do zombies well, really.
Okay,
it just does all this stereotypical stuff.
Sorry, but why did they have a mixed thing with zombies?
Which,
Because some were just, but I don't know if it's a spoiler, but some were...
Yeah, well...
I don't know if you want me to say it outright or hold
Yeah, let's just go to the spoilers, because we're out of stuff to say that's not spoiler.
Okay. Alright, spoiler warning.
So,
why were some of the zombies talking? Some were talking.
Yeah,
some were.
Can you guys explain to me that Lisa Trevor thing or whatever? What is that bitch's deal?
I have no idea.
No, I didn't know.
I thought, okay, here's one thing, and I had to get it out of my system. I don't, because did you ever play Resident Evil 8?
The newest one?
Yes.
A little bit.
Okay.
Not enough,
There's a great... If the guy says he's a fan, I really wish you'd have done this, because 7 and 8 are great horror movies.
Yeah, they are.
But here's the great thing. 8 actually ties into the origins of Umbrella Academy. Because it's Mother Miranda, she fell in love with a guy, he went to America, and what'd he do? He started Umbrella. So it's literally like two different sides of the same coin. One went with the parasite route, but it's still kind of like about zombies and monsters like that. The other went more the virus route. Okay. And so this whole thing, it started the same roots of a tree, but then it just branched. Right. And it's still, and it was so good. If they would have done that, if they would have gone, okay, let's build on that. Let's make a movie about Mother Miranda researching the parasites, the one guy researching the virus, and the fact that that's where it divulged. And all of a sudden you can tie it in. It's like, welcome to Raccoon City, and that's where it all comes down to this guy starting Umbrella. Yeah. You know, could have been some big reveal. Hey, it's a Resident Evil movie. You could have done something like that. Something original.
It would have been cool if they could have sold it as a regular horror movie, and then you find out it's a Resident Evil movie
or something like that. That would have blown people's minds.
That would have blown everybody's mind. But I can see as a studio, they would never greenlight.
No, because they'd be like, no.
They'd be like, because I can see now it's all about nostalgia. Yeah. So they were trying, they were pushing so hard for that nostalgia feel of this one that I don't think they would have.
So I just want to verify. Yes. It's Lisa Trevor. Not in the movies.
Not that I remember.
I don't remember, because I would remember.
Because there's this important fucking character that when Claire is a kid in the orphanage, she like makes friends with this. I don't know if that's part of her face or if she's wearing some kind of hood.
But was it a face that she did she kill someone?
I don't know what the fuck.
Because that's something, because the inner files is extremely dangerous.
Right. Yeah. But she makes friends with this thing when she's a kid, and so later when they're trying to escape the orphanage, Lisa shows up again and helps them out by destroy. Is she the one that killed the liquor? She just
she got on. She had old school wooden shackles too, which is really weird. And again, that could have been the whole thing. It's like an old school thing, and just snaps its skull with that. It's
right,
like, okay,
and then
cool.
she's like, Claire, friend, and Claire's like, cool, we need to get out of here. And so she gives them the key. She gives them the key to the tunnel and shows them where the lock is. And then they just leave her ass there.
Yes.
Like, I don't...
Yeah. It's like, here you go, here's an Easter egg. Here's the heart key and the diamond key.
To my remembrance and my knowledge, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the orphanage part has nothing to do with the games. They made that up.
It is in 2 and 3. 2 and I think 3. There is a reference to the orphanage. I'm pretty sure. There's something about...
There might be a small reference then,
I think
but
it's
not
a really small reference. But
it's definitely not a story part. Like,
no.
Even the design of the orphanage with those gates, I've never seen that before in my life.
It looked familiar, but I'm also like, I might be from like, it might be a remake sort of thing. It's like, okay, here, looks, that's where it was. Okay,
and that could be. I have not played any of the remakes.
It's been a while since I played them, but yeah, it's just.
But yeah, I didn't understand any of that, and it went nowhere. I didn't understand the point of it.
Well, yeah, because to go back with you talking about the hunter, it's like I was like, oh great, we're gonna finally see a hunter. Usually they love the liquors. Like no, it's like
here's a liquor again.
Right.
I understand it's gonna look like a big hole, but it's like that's one thing that's cool. It's something that's like you don't see in zombie movies.
And if you film it right, it doesn't matter if they look like they can be terrifying. Yeah, because I always thought them as big walking frog guys.
Right. Yeah, it could be like what? It could be down the hall. What is that? And then just some. Barreling down at you.
And if you do it right with the sound effects, I think it'd be terrifying.
Yes.
What was the doctor's name? The main bad doctor guy?
William. There was Wesker and
whatever.
Then Williams.
His daughter. So the little girl is telling the dad about the dream, and she describes what you said was.
Sounds like a hunter.
The hunter.
It's like yellow eyes, green claws and fangs and stuff like that. I'm like, okay. If it was like a really extended claws, I'm like, okay, to me, that makes it sound like she's been in the lab before, because that was the one thing that they did horrible. You're right, the doctor, I don't remember his name. I think they said it once.
I feel like it was Williams, like something Williams.
I think that's what the wife said, William, no, or something like that.
Yeah, because I kept trying to think, who is this from the game?
The only thing I got of it is he made the G virus.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that they showed. It's like, this is my life's work. So it's like, okay, he probably got involved with the T virus, and then went to the G virus, and then that was his little baby about it.
Yeah, and
that's what I got. So maybe made me think that maybe his daughter had been in the lab and saw stuff like in the mansion, stuff like that. Maybe.
I don't know, guys. Like, it doesn't really make any sense. Like
right, because then he injects himself, and then he's attacking his own daughter at the end. Like, because she's running with those other people.
Right, and then he ends up turning it into the tyrant, basically.
That's what I mean. Like, he turns into the monster, and then his daughter's with the other people, but he's chasing all them. Dude, you're trying to kill your own daughter now? Like,
I think it's because he was it was like a last-ditch effort. He injected himself thinking, okay, I'm not dead yet. I'm still going to be in control. But then he just got murdered. So, like, oh, now the virus just kicks in, so he's just pure, like, mindless zombie tyrant.
Yeah, because before it kept his head. Yeah. He had the eyeball and the arm and everything, which looked ridiculous. But the
arm was cool.
The arm was cool, but his head still being there looked ridiculous. It reminded me of like in Iron Man when he's in the giant suit and you can see his head popping out of it in the Hulkbuster suit. It just looks silly, but that at least is a cool and understandable. But yeah, then with him being the tyrant and not Wesker was like, well, wait a minute.
Well, they did the tyrant wrong too, because it's like a big giant hulking ogre thing, and like he's like a little heart spot on. It's like,
and again, not terrifying.
Just make it. You can go down and make it still human looking. Right. Just make it bigger.
It was very Cronenberg.
Yeah. Which it was in the game too. Like the design is close to accurate, just like in the Resident Evil movies. I remember they used a tyrant in one of them. I remember Wesker was in one of them.
Yeah.
And I remember Nemesis was in one of them.
Yeah, he was actually game-wise he was 3,
right?
But movie-wise
he was 2. Okay, so I remember this stuff, and then like I was telling them too, at the end, Leon just comes out of nowhere with a bazooka and shoots and blows him up. And I'm like, is that game accurate? Yes, it is. Does he just pull it out of nowhere? And then they're like, where'd you find this?
First class.
Yeah. Like, no, I didn't mind him showing up with a bazooka because I was like, finally, shit's happening. Like,
it felt so like, okay, they cut something out clearly.
I was like, cool, dude has a bazooka now. I'm in.
Yeah. And that's the thing, but there's nothing there's nothing in the story to, he finds the bazooka. Well, that's going to come back around later. Nothing like that. It's just, there's a bazooka.
Yeah. He's Bazooka Joe now. Like, it's cool. Like, I'm fine with it.
Well, it ended the movie, so I think we were all happy with that.
Well, the end credit scene gave me flashbacks to fucking Suicide Squad because I was like, the worst character, what?
Right. And I don't know if they're trying to make Wesker a hero in this or not because they acted like he's cool, he was funny.
Yeah.
And I have questions because we see him die in the lab or whatever, right? And so at some point, someone had to have gone in there and get his body, but we saw the countdown. They only had like 20 minutes when he died before everything was going to explode. So in 20 minutes, someone went back in there, located his body, removed it, took it into a secure location, brought it to the morgue, and then injected him with shit. Yep. Like, no.
Yeah, because the end credit scene is there's a body bag that sits up and it rips himself out and it's Wesker and everyone's like, we're all like, fuck.
And he's completely unharmed and shoehorned in the sunglasses.
It's so horrible. Ada shows up. And who I forgot about, honestly.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like, well, you didn't even tell me your name. Ada.
Yeah.
Like,
she stops and turns to the camera. My name's Ada.
Ada Wong.
Ada Wong. Dun, dun, dun. And gives him the sunglasses.
Did she even say her last name?
I think.
I don't know.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I think it might have just... Oh, my God. It was so... She's like, you're... it's like, what's wrong with my eyes? I can't see. It's like, that's what happened when we... Did they say rebuild or what we did to you like that? It's like, here's your sunglasses, Wesker. It's like...
So they're explaining why he's wearing sunglasses. Like, it was just a video game.
Yes.
Like, Wesker looks like Johnny Cage in the video game, okay? Yeah. And you know what's funny is, I was telling her, and I could be wrong about this, but the way I remember it was Capcom actually did co-produced the original Resident Evil movie, and it was partially their decision to not make it based on the video game. They wanted it as its own separate story universe. Choice. So that it was, because there was the video games, and then there was the movies, and they wanted people to be fans of both.
Because what they were able to do then was make a freaking horror movie, because that's what they did. They weren't tied, they had to tie it, okay, we had to have Raccoon City or whatever, we have to have Umbrella, we have to have the virus, but then everything else is open, and it made for a better movie.
Well, it did, because again, I think the people that made this one spent too much time trying to be like the video game instead of going, here's our setting. Now we can give people the little nods and Easter eggs here and there like Marvel does and stuff. You can do that, and fans love it. You have to do it.
Yep.
But you don't make your entire movie beat for beat.
Well, because like that's the thing a lot of people don't realize with Marvel, there's so many people trying to copy that with like mid-credit scenes and after credits.
But they don't put in the work Marvel did.
No. Well, there's so many people you can look. It's like here's the MCU version and then here's the comic book version. That's the thing. So you have the original story. It's like, okay, that's weird. Let's just kind of like keep little
Let's try to mainstream this a little bit.
Yeah, let's dog ear that one, but let's skip a few pages ahead.
And that's the problem. Marvel put in 20 years now. Somewhere like that. 10 years now in the MCU. They put the work in to build this world and all of this. Everyone else, DC, the video games, Universal wanted to do their monster universe or whatever. Legendary. They want to have all of these. They want to have Marvel's success without putting in the work that Marvel did.
Yep. And they just want it immediately. They want, well, here's our,
they see the money now. They saw it when Infinity War came out. They go, oh my God, I want that.
Well, look at they're saying Spider-Man is going to outsell Endgame.
Yeah.
Well, because it's leaked like crazy too of like all the big spoilers stuff like that.
This movie's gonna be like. And
let's not talk. Let's not get off topic into Spider-Man because that's a whole other video.
A whole other thing. But this movie's just not good. Like I knew,
especially if you're a fan of the games, just don't, because every time someone's like, "Oh, I'm a fan of the games," like don't.
Right. Just honestly, just play the old games. Yeah. Play the game if you want nostalgia.
Go on YouTube. Watch someone do a playthrough.
Watching this, it made me want to play the game again. Like, I probably will go and play the Resident Evil 2 remake now because that's going to be better than what this was. Like, this gave me all the imagery of it.
Yes.
The imagery reminded me of the Silent Hill movie where they gave you the perfect imagery for it, but the story wasn't quite where it needed to be. Yeah. Only that is a better movie than this.
Yes.
I think better actors would have sold it a little better, too, because I don't know if you guys got it too. I think the girl who played young Claire was better than adult Claire. Yeah. Like, adult Claire was boring. She was kind of just blankly staring off.
I think that might have been a director thing because it's like some of these people, they were done pretty well. And then some, like, the one thing I cannot stop harping about Wesker, he goes like he doesn't say Raccoon City. He goes like Raccoon City, something like that. He says it in a weird way.
He says it kind of halfway sarcastically.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be serious in the moment. But it's just like, yeah, they're gonna destroy Raccoon City. It's like, who says it that way? Like everyone else is Raccoon City. I know it's a weird thing to harp on. It's like, it just seems like someone is like, the director's like, no. I want you to do it this way.
The director very well may have been a 1 or 2 take guy, and then boom, go on.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, I've experienced this on my sets. There are some people that just need to be directed, and then they're great. And then there are others that you can be like, okay, here's what I kind of want, go with it, and their instincts are better than what you could provide. And this was a case where they probably needed to be directed more.
Right.
Yeah.
And the director clearly, because I suspect there's a couple scenes where I suspect that he may have even tried to let them improvise. Like in one of the early scenes of Leon, he's like, fuck. And I'm like, did you really write that?
Yeah. Boondock Saints did that better.
Yes. You know?
Boondock Saints did that better.
Exactly. It wasn't like, it just felt like he had, okay, just say some things here. And he didn't know, because I've seen a lot of people.
And why was
resort
he
to
so sleepy?
Yes! Why?
Because he's
what
young
the hell
and drunk.
Wrong?
Because they established earlier he went out for drinks.
Because
Like,
Leon,
give us a reason.
It starts with Leon where he's like asleep in his bedroom or whatever. It's like 10:56. His alarm goes off for work. Who sets their alarm for 10:56? Like, what is your shift, dude?
And who puts their sheets over their head like that?
Right. He sat up with the sheet over his head.
That
was bad.
Because they wanted the reveal, is what it was.
Right.
Because, like I said, the minute I saw his long hair, I'm like, well, that's Leon.
Yeah.
You know?
Then he's tired. Then he gets to work.
The diner,
and he's asleep at the diner,
and they're putting a ketchup bottle on him.
That scene was so dumb.
It reminded me of Mark. We have a friend, Mark, who, when he would get drunk at parties, we had all, like, balanced stuff on him wherever he fell asleep.
Because, okay, that would be a perfect time to establish Wesker's a bad guy, because all things like, I bet you can't shoot it off, and then, you know, someone's like, gets a toy gun.
Jill.
Well, she busts out the big gun, and it's like, whoa, Jill, what the hell? He's like, no, use this, and it's like, I think it should have been the other way around.
Yeah, Wesker should have been the one. He should have actually done it. And then that, and then they all yelled at him.
He could have been a little prick, like, no, just threw it at the kid.
Right.
Like,
well, she was the prick in that scene.
She was
That's what I mean. It's like there was no one to like in this cast.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's kind of a dick. Like, we're friends. We rib on each other, but it was like mean-spirited ribbing that they were doing. But then Leon gets to work and he's sleeping again. And it's like, he misses
an explosion.
Truck crash. It crashed right in front of the freaking, and then this guy's on fire walking in, and he's like,
which that truck crash was not impressive.
I mean,
at
Crush
all.
is a good song, but I mean, I wouldn't be that distracted by Crush to miss, because it was awesome. The Crush song was on, and it got quiet or whatever, and then came back up right as the flaming guy walked in. That was good. That was good.
The movie has little moments in it that are okay. That was good.
But again, that's just because Crush is an awesome song. So
it probably was more than music.
Here's a bit of a continuity issue then too. How did the zombie? He got out on fire. Dog got out perfectly fine.
Well, the dog jumped out the window.
Yeah, the dog jumped out the window.
Maybe.
Zombie dog.
I was very upset to see the dog, because I was like, oh, we're going to get zombie dog.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw the parking lot, I'm like...
I remember from the second movie.
Yeah, they had zombie dogs in it, yeah.
Well, like in the game, in 2 and 3, as soon as you go down that parking lot, and all of a sudden you hear...
Oh, yeah.
You hear the claw marks, like, oh, God, that's a dog.
Infamously, in the very first video game, it's that... The dog jumping through the window.
That scares
everybody jumped at that scene.
Oh god.
Every single person.
Something's wrong with you.
I don't remember what it was now, but there was like the first jump scare, whatever it was, got me. And then after that it was just nothing. Like the movie sucked from there on out.
Yeah, because the opening was in the orphanage. And I don't even remember what the jump scene was.
I don't either, but everyone in the theater kind of jumped.
Right.
It was when she got her feet pulled out.
Oh, yeah.
Because somehow the one little girl that was whatever her name was, she was like messing around. I thought she was going to be upside down looking at her and be like, no, weird. And stuff. All of a sudden she pulled a Batman and escaped out of a tent somehow.
Right. Yeah, Lisa Trevor or something like that.
And apparently they're saving her story for the next movie or something.
Yeah. You guys, I don't know if you, when you're editing this, if you can find a picture of this girl, because I can't even explain the mask or whatever that she's wearing.
It looked like a fake face,
like,
and you can tell it's
there's a
stitched.
face on the side, but she's not looking through the face.
No.
She's looking through like an opening in this mask thing.
It looks to me like the mask is on sideways, and it's
But is
ripped
it a
here.
mask, or is that
Yeah.
her deformities from whatever
I don't-
experiments? Because yeah, that's the other thing, is underneath the orphanage is where they were doing experiments on kids
Right,
and stuff.
yeah.
And that's why Claire ran away, is because one night they grabbed her and they were going to try and take her down to do experiments on.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That was like really loosely thrown together because it's like, okay, great, you know, the kid followed her instincts, but I'm sorry.
And why is her brother not believing her
I
and
thought of
believing
that,
this
yeah.
evil doctor who
Right.
adopted him or whatever? Like,
Yeah.
Because he is the older brother. That's actually a halfway decent thing. If I remember reading about it right, that is the thing where older siblings take on the roles of a parent, where if they become orphans through death.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's
I've
like
heard that.
older siblings become the parent.
okay, but if my
Yeah.
sister, I'm the oldest. If my little sister was like, hey, there's some creepy bitch staring at me in the middle
Oh,
of the
but
night,
then you're like,
I'd be
it's
like,
okay.
let's go investigate or tell
Right.
someone. I'm not just going to be like, lay down and close your eyes, it's fine.
And also, I feel like there was a scene later on as adults when they were finally reunited where she was telling him something he didn't
Yeah,
believe
when
it.
she went to his
Yeah.
house, she was
Yeah,
like, she had the
that
video
was
of the
it.
guy,
And he's all
and
like-
she's showing him, and she's like, yeah, they're all bad. And he's like, well, he did more for me than you ever
Yeah.
did. He's more family to me than you are. And I'm like, she ran away because they were going to experiment on her, and you clearly didn't believe her about that because you're estranged.
But they didn't know that though.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. He didn't know. He just
No.
knew one day she ran. And then if you're a kid and 4 adults that you have to trust tell you your sister ran away.
I'm
we don't
sorry,
know what's going on.
how many orphans trust just random adults? It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
From a
It was messed up.
psychological
It was
point of
messed
view,
up.
it's all bullshit.
But the one ginger guy that was like the crazy guy who like she met through a chat room.
Yeah.
Like, okay, one, thanks for making a ginger. That was a crazy weirdo.
And wasting him.
I did
he should have
understand
been
that.
like a
I
lot more.
kinda
He
like
should have been a
that
lot more
guy.
chaotic.
I
He
like
could have been
crazy.
he could have been fun. But that's
Right.
the thing. It's like he did look kind of crazy. It's like, okay, great, we're gonna do some of them. He looks like he gets throat ripped out by his zombie brother.
There was a few scenes where I didn't buy that the zombie would have caught them.
Nope.
In this scene.
No.
In this movie at
Nope.
all.
There were a couple times where it reminds me of in Halloween 2 with the girl on the phone where she's walking towards the door and Michael Myers just literally pops
Yeah.
up from the side and gets her.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what it reminded me of. Because there
Yeah,
was some
fair.
where it's like, how did you not see that zombie there?
Totally,
You
yeah.
need to go to the eye doctor if you get out of this because you've got peripheral vision
I
problems.
did. Okay, here's one of the shots that I liked. It's not a scene, but the shot that I liked when he's looking up and the liquor's coming. You can't see him, but
And
you
the
see the
lights-
lights.
Yeah,
move
the
up.
lights.
Yes,
that
I
was
was like,
That
yes.
was cool.
That was
Okay,
cool.
very
'Cause
cool.
I'm thinking, what's walking up there? I didn't know what it was going to be, but either way, that's a great
And
entrance
I thought he could
for
have
a
been such
character.
a great horror part
But it
because
wasn't.
it's like the one girl she even points up and just like
Right.
tell him there's
yeah,
something
Lisa,
above
she was
you.
trying to help him. She was like, up
Yeah.
there.
And I'm like, okay, great, because liquors, they react to sound. They're blind. Awesome. He's stuck. Hey, guys.
I know.
And then
Hey, guys. Nothing. And then all of a sudden, just like, grab gone. It's like, you
And-
could have done like the slow tongue.
And
nothing.
that was Donald Logue's death.
Right.
Like, the only
But-
character I actually liked in this movie.
And the thing is he's a bigger guy. I
Yeah.
thought that it could have been more realistic if it was grabbed him and maybe it was having a harder time pulling him up, and they could have had but it's like instantaneous.
Yeah,
Boom,
it
ate
just-
him, gone. Like I think it could have been cool if it grabbed him and it's pulling him up and they have time to try to
his
save
body
him.
did look
and-
cool. I don't know what it did to his face, but when they
Yeah.
dropped his body, like his top of his jaw
and
was
he had
bent
huge
back.
claw
Like,
marks.
Yeah,
It
he got
looked cool.
fucked. He got
Yeah.
fucked up.
Now, again, practical effects.
Which is probably why he was like, okay, I'll do the movie, but I
Right.
want to die cool. Okay.
which I love Donald Logue, but I guess I hadn't seen him in a while because when he walked on screen, I was like, man, he got old.
Yeah, I wasn't sure it was him until she said that, and then I realized it was him because I was like, I don't think because he was on Gotham, wasn't he?
He was
Wasn't
on
that long ago.
Gotham. I know. I grew up with him from Grounded for Life.
That was the one thing that
Yeah,
popped in my head when I
we
saw
all
him.
know
Oh,
the
hey,
dad.
it's the dad.
Right.
Right.
And he did one of the mobster movies too. I forget which one.
Yeah. Oh,
he
was it
did.
Departed or
Might have been. But I'm pretty sure he played the cop, the bad cop.
or The
in
Island? I
Gotham.
think he was in The Island, the Leonardo DiCaprio one.
That I
The
didn't
beach.
see.
No,
The Island.
the
was-
Shutter Island.
Shutter Island. Oh, I think he was.
I think he was in
might
Shutter
be
Island.
in that.
Because I'm just picturing him with like a fedora and like a top coat,
That's how-
like
That's how he looked in
in Gotham too.
Yeah,
but that
so
that's not what
I think he plays that part a lot.
Whatever. Donald Logue is awesome. He should
Yeah.
have been in the movie way more.
He's a big time asshole though.
Yeah.
He comes
Yeah.
in just gun. What are you doing? He's like, get the fuck out of here! What are you doing? And I love when he
Another
tears
scene
in
I
the
thought was
Wesker though. It's a
impressive.
great bit. It's like, Wesker, you're not this stupid.
Yeah, that
Why
was
are you
funny.
this stupid? Like, well, you want to, and then all the references, you want to go down to Blockbuster,
Right,
rent a
all the
movie. It's like,
90s
oh my God,
references.
put on some Journey.
Another
and I'm
check
like,
mark. They're like, okay,
God.
90s Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And, like, she actually uses a VHS to put in the
Yeah.
thing at one point, and it's a really old, even for 1998.
It
It's a
looked
really
like
old
because it's a VCR that had the
Top
pop.
load.
Yeah, it wasn't just push it
No.
in. No, it had the top load.
Top loads are like from the 80s, guys.
Right.
This is not the 90s.
I almost thought it was a Betamax for a minute. Like,
Right. So, which, whatever. Maybe it was a small town. Maybe they had old stuff, but...
okay, but that was a huge thing. Why did the town hinge on Umbrella?
Because that's where
the jobs
it's
were.
A small there are towns like this in real life.
No,
In fact,
I get that, but,
visited
like-
one was where the town is basically built around this corporation, and the corporation hires everybody, and
That's how you live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went to Mississippi. I can't remember what the town was, but there's a major appliance company called Viking that makes the real expensive professional appliances. and
Okay.
they are an example of that. I went to this town. There was nothing to do except for go to the plant and go to the shops around it, which were all owned by the plant. I mean, everything was owned by it.
and
Everybody
that's
worked
why
for them.
when Umbrella left, the town
Okay.
went into
Went
disrepair,
under.
and
Yeah.
everyone who was rich moved out. Why was the doctor guy still there? Like, dude,
Yeah, I don't
how
know.
did he
I
and
don't
his
know.
family get stuck here?
'Cause
He
it-
knew this was coming, and they
'Cause-
must have wanted him dead.
Don't they
Umbrella
file-
must have wanted him dead.
They were in the process of leaving. I think they said like
No,
they,
because he was talking to his daughter, and then he gets the phone call.
Yeah,
and
we
then
gotta
he's
go
like,
now.
"We gotta go now."
Right.
Well,
Like,
'cause no, when the text, there's a bunch of text on there. It's like Umbrella Academy or Umbrella Academy, Umbrella Corporation, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world.
Right.
Its home base or headquarters is in Raccoon City, but now they're leaving.
Right.
So
They're
everyone
leaving.
is.
they're leaving.
Yeah,
company.
they're not. They had left. That they're in the.
No.
But I'm
it's making-
saying he wouldn't have gotten like a memo instead of just that phone call.
It's because of the leak, which made no fucking sense. Why was there a leak? A Chernobyl
And I don't
type
think
leak?
they properly
Yeah, I don't
explained.
think
They said something like maybe the cops got a vaccine and that's why they didn't get exposed to it. But I don't think they probably explained
No.
why our characters were not turning into zombies. Because other than Claire, who just got to town, everybody's living there. Everybody's drinking the water. Everybody,
Right.
like, her brother just got done showering in the water when she
Yeah.
got there. So, like,
And-
how did they not get exposed?
They did a really shit job explaining, but that's supposed to be those cops are supposed to be stars and it's supposed to be like
The special forces
strategic,
group.
tactical,
Yeah.
like action.
Is that why they
rescue.
didn't have to wear outfits? Like
Yeah,
house
they
outfits?
were like special. They also worked with Umbrella. That's why they were able to go in places wherever they want. They had like a helicopter. They weren't normal cops.
So they were not good at explaining that to
No.
people.
No,
like
they
me
did a
who
shit
do
job.
not know
I don't think they even said the
game.
word stars
No,
ever.
you just had to see the logo
Yeah.
on their badge. That's all
Yeah.
you had to see. Like when
So,
they
yeah.
first show up, they're all casually dressed. They all act like they're just hanging out at a coffee
Yeah,
shop.
they act like they're normal cops like that. These are supposed to be like elite cops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're supposed to be
All
like
right,
SWAT.
so
if
if you're like me
better.
and you don't know anything about the video games,
Yeah, if
this
you don't know
movie
anything about the
sucks.
games, like
No, they did a port.
they don't
like you
explain
said,
anything.
it doesn't go to anyone. That's the problem. It's like if you're a fan of the games, honestly, just play one of the remakes. They're good.
Yeah.
Play one of the newer games, 7 or 8. Go back and play your original games. They're still gonna be good.
Yeah.
If you're not a fan of the games, there's gonna be so many references you're not gonna
There's
understand.
no point in
Yeah,
watching this movie.
they it's like, okay, we're gonna make it for the fans, but not for the fans. But we're not gonna really follow. It's like, okay,
Right.
pick one.
At
Is
least
it for the
explain
fans
shit.
or for the casual people? Who is it?
They did a shit job on
It's not for
explaining
anybody.
it
You
at
can't do
all.
both. That's the whole thing. You're
Yeah.
gonna piss off one of the groups. You piss off the fans because guess what? They'll get over it.
But you know what, though? You still have to make a good movie.
You
You
do.
can give us all the Easter eggs you want. You can copy the scene. You can copy it line for line. You can copy it shot for shot if you want.
Yep.
And if it's not a well-made movie or good
Yep.
movie or entertaining movie,
Yep.
we're just...
Look at
we're not-
Psycho.
I don't want
The
that.
original Psycho, classic cinema. When they did a shot-for-shot remake, everything the same, except for they updated some things.
Yeah.
It was bullshit.
It
Like, it
wasn't
was
the
a
same.
horrible fucking movie. Because it didn't have the, I don't know, the charm, the je ne sais quoi, the whatever that Hitchcock, that fucking asshole, put into it.
But think of also the time frames. You know, the 60s was way different than 1998.
Right, that's the
when
other
they
thing. It's a
remade it.
different context, too, of when the movie's being made.
Yeah, we're way more used to serial killers now, even in 1998, than we were in 1960.
But I'm saying, even today, I can watch Psycho and find it enthralling, whereas I put in the Psycho remake. I put in the Psycho remake, and I'm like, this is shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing to me. It's the exact same thing, but this one's shit.
Yep.
And there is, back to what we were saying, though, there is nothing for you in this movie. If you aren't a fan of the games, or if you're like Kris and you're a fan of the old movies, there's still nothing here for you.
Because there's no Alice.
There's nothing to like. And for the fans, it's just a bunch of shots of, I remember that, how cool.
It's like, hey, look, that.
It honestly made me feel good that I actually could remember the video game still. All right, guys, so final thoughts.
I hated it.
Not good. It has its moments. It's worth watching if you're on a streaming service or if you're getting a free rental from Redbox, because the practical effects are pretty good. There are a few casts that are pretty good. That's really about it. Visually, it's pretty good.
It's slightly better than Empty Man.
My final thoughts are, if you have not played the Resident Evil games, any of them, this movie's a total waste of time for you, because there's better zombie movies, there's better zombie TV shows.
There's better Resident Evil movies.
There's better Resident Evil games to go back and play. There's better everything. There's no reason to watch this. Now, if you have played the Resident Evil games, I agree with what Aaron said. If it's free and you just kind of want to see how they depicted it, maybe just to love to hate it, because sometimes there is fun in that. I'm having a great conversation. This is fun here. Then okay, you can hate watch it, maybe you'll like it. Maybe the Easter eggs are enough for you and you'll like it. I wouldn't waste your hard-earned money right now on a movie like this. But that's my final thought. Is
agreed.
If you have a nostalgia, if there's some enjoyment just to seeing it, but it's not satisfying.
No, turn into a drinking game. It's like every time you go, what the fuck?
Oh God, I'd be dead.
Yeah,
dead. And
that's it.
Kris would just be like attached to my vein because none of this makes any goddamn sense to me.
Playing Charlie McDennis.
Right. So let's. All right, guys. So on that, we'll call it a night.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let us know what you thought of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Was there any Easter eggs we missed? Is there something we missed that we just didn't get?
Can you explain to us who Lisa Trevor is?
Please do so in the comments below. And make sure you hit that like button, because it pleases the YouTube algorithm gods. Yes, everybody bow to the YouTube algorithm. All right, thanks for watching, guys.
Have a good night and good fight.
Bye.
See ya.
Let's search for him separately. I'll check the dining room again.
Okay, I'll try the door on the opposite side.
This mansion is gigantic. Jill, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.